In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why the whole red pill movement is basically just male feminism rebranded, and why we need a much more healthier approach to self-improvement that isn't so rigid like the red pill is, and how much it's actually dragging people from what's actually important. First of all, I will give the red pill movement credit where it is due. The importance of self-accountability, and that is the fact that we have to take responsibility for all of our actions in life and not make excuses for it. And it also talks about the importance of self-improvement, which is also necessary in today's world. Like, I think self-improvement is necessary for both men and women. It doesn't really matter. It does give some very good elements of truth, like for instance, societally and politically, in terms of actually finding out who really has the power in the world and actually trying to figure out how the world actually works in terms of the levels of power in our society, and genuinely figuring out why society is the way it is and what they're constantly telling us to believe and what we should believe in, even though we have not ever taken a moment to think for ourselves. Which, I can't lie, that is what they absolutely advocate for, which is free thought, which I kind of do respect them for. But here's what I don't like: the endless debates about body counts. I mean, really? It's like, can you not talk about anything more meaningful than that? And constantly talking about like women are to blame for all of this and that women are all manipulative. It's like, have you guys ever actually talked to real women in real life? Like, and I swear some of the people that they put on these podcasts are generally the worst types of women to ever date, ever. Even me, as a guy that actually gets zero attention from women myself, even I know that there are some massive red flags that I need to avoid, and that I have a lot of work to do as well, and that's fine. But I don't need to go around constantly blaming the other gender for it. Yeah, in fact, that's not just emotional weakness, that just screams insecurity, not empowerment. Real strength, like I said before, is taking responsibility of your own actions and actually solving your problems. It's the fact that it's all wrapped up in bitterness. When all the advice you give is all out of resentment, and most of the time, which never works for the majority of men like me who taken action and have failed miserably, it never really works, and half the time it just loses its power. I think honestly the key to self-improvement is building yourself up without tearing other people down. Of course, you should demand respect for yourself and in your relationships, but that shouldn't be an excuse to treat other people like they're inferior to you, or that you have to constantly act like one step ahead of them in order to succeed, or that you have to be completely emotionally suppressed in order to actually fulfill your duties as a person. So now you're probably wondering, why do you think red pill is feminism rebranded for men? Both sides, right, are created to both tackle inequalities, right? For women it was sexism, and for the red pill movement it was the feeling of men being undervalued in a society that constantly tells them they're to blame for all the world's problems. But like anything in life, too much of a good thing can become a poison. Therefore, too much of feminism, however, equals man-hating, and too much of the red pill movement equals women-hating. And if I'm being honest, I feel like these political movements are all kind of there just to divide us all and stop us from actually forming long-term healthy relationships with other people and uniting us all together as we should be. Again, it's just the same coin, different sides. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's actually figure out how to actually move forward. I really only have one tip for you. Get out into the real world. Actually learn some skills for yourself. Actually do something uncomfortable. Find actual meaning in your lives. Find something that you're actually passionate about and stay disciplined and actually focus on your craft. Emotional control is important, contrary to what the red pill teaches you. Learn how to productively control your emotions, not acting them out of emotion or impulsively or completely suppressing them, but by taking a moment to pause, reflect, accept your emotions for what they are, and then act on reason. Understand your feelings for what they are and learn from them instead of letting them control you. This is something I'm still learning myself because I've always been a very emotional lad, and I never really had any sort of constructive outlets for me to actually gain some control over it and start to act logically again. But it's only when I started figuring out what journaling was that really helped me. It really allowed me to look at my life from a realistic perspective and actually sort out what was really going on in my head. And if I could do that, then I could go through my day a lot more smoothly and figure out why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And I could actually think of practical steps to tackle it, which for me, for example, was actually having a photography hobby. It was a way of me actually just confronting the frustration and the loneliness that I was facing. And instead of just acting out of rage, I decided to channel that in towards telling more stories, right? Using my skills of learning how to use a camera to help others. And last but not least, improve only for yourself. If you're only doing this for the intention of women, then you're going to fail miserably. I'm so sorry to tell you, because people can actually smell your desperation a mile off. It doesn't work. Instead, actually have a strong reason that involves something bigger than you. Like, do you want to raise your family one day? Do you actually want to, solve a problem that the world needs solved? Those sort of questions. If you can actually find a reasonable long-term purpose that is bigger than you, that will actually get you through the days where you are very low on motivation. And also, it actually gives you a reason to stop distracting yourself with female validation all the time, because you'll actually realize that you've got other tasks that are just as more important. I think the whole red pill movement has had its moment of decadence, but I think it's time we outgrew it. Like I said before, real strength comes from building yourself up and not tearing other people down, but instead lifting them up as well. Before I leave this video, please ask yourselves this question. Are you living in reaction to the world, or are you shaping your own reality? That's all from me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.